In NA, like, you don't have Radiance anymore. Like what? I don't know what's going on with that. Like, literally, this act, you guys are ending at what? 400 Radiant. This is just criminal, man. Like, I mean, this is probably the best time for you to get Radiant. Like, I mean, this year, because maybe, who knows, like, what's going to happen in the future years.
Does talent matter in Valorant? I quit my job to find out, on a quest to go from a hard-stuck plat to Radiant. I've got 1 year to make it to Radiant or as a full-time content creator, or else I'm back to grinding 9 to 5s. This is my story. So, up until this point, I've been more or less freestyling my Valorant improvement journey. I got some VOD reviewing done by a friend and even by a viewer, but I was the one deciding my focuses each week. Well, starting today, I am no longer on this journey alone. Even Naruto didn't become a badass ninja on his own. It was his training by his mentors that took his raw potential and turned it into something great. I have sought out the best Valorant coach in the world, who has trained over 100 folks up to Radiant and over 1,000 into Immortal. Legendary coach of Woohoojin, all-time Radiant since closed beta, and #1 Papito, Charlatan.
What's up, tricksters? My name is Charlatan. What's up, tricksters and tricksetters? What's up, tricksters, and welcome to another episode of Omen to Mortal series.
Last player standing. Hey.
Woohoo!
One enemy.
Idiots!
Taking shit.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Get them out of the fucking server, bro!
His name sounds like he's here to rip you off, and that mask is mysterious, but he's got some of the best coaching content in the game. Can he accelerate my improvement journey? On this next leg of the Musagan saga, we will find out just how much the right mentorship plays a role in success. Our first session was over 4 hours long, and here's how that went. We started off with a short assessment in the range. I was a little nervous for it, even though there's not much of a reason to be. I've always wanted to impress my teachers, I guess, since I was a kid in school.
Okay, all good.
We went over a few small tweaks to my Valorant settings as well as PC settings, and then started talking about our general plan. He dropped this ambitious goal in front of me.
So our first goal is going to be making out of you an Immortal 3 player in the following 3 to 4 months. Everything that I share with you, every tip, every rule, every strategy, every tactic, every training is going to be focused on this specific goal. Of course, like, I mean, the first step should be reaching Ascendant, but you're already really close to Ascendant, even though your stats are not really the best, but I think we're going to get Ascendant in the next month or maybe even, like, sooner than that.
We talked about how NA was ending the act with less than 500 Radiance and what that means for my goal this year.
In NA, like, you don't have Radiance anymore. Like what? I don't know what's going on with that. Like, literally, this act, you guys are ending at what? 400 Radiant. This is just criminal, man. Like, I mean, this is probably the best time for you to get Radiant. Like, I mean, this year, because maybe, who knows, like, what's going to happen in the future years.
In the actual VOD review, we covered a lot of stuff, and there's too much to cover here. But the main takeaways were my team play and positioning.
And the worst thing you can do in the first round is what we're doing here. This is already a loss. You're allowing your Jet to peek the window in the first round. We have no fucking idea how enemies are playing on B and what they're peeking. She can die in the first second of a round. Your controller is going alone through the garden. You can die from the garage peek, from the chamber. I don't know if chamber is going to be doing that. On a macro level, in the first round, you should always tell your teammates to play together as 5. Now in this 3v2, you should just play with a teammate you think has the highest chances of dying at that moment of time. You should have held the ceiling while the Gecko is simply holding the window. You know, you didn't really lose the round because of mechanical skill. You lost it because you didn't play with the Gecko. When you have numbers advantage in the post plants or in any situation, you don't care about the map control. You don't care that enemies can come from here. You don't care about the spike as well. all you care about is to preserve this numbers advantage and to play with a teammate that has the highest chances of dying at that moment of time. We see that spike, like, I mean, like, as long as we guard this position, we have the vision here. Like, enemies don't have a controller.
I spent the week after trying to implement these changes, plus everything else that was recommended. And it was pretty difficult, as I felt super self-conscious of my playing and couldn't rely on my natural flow. My first game after the coaching session was Haven, but my team got destroyed, which was a little disheartening after just VOD reviewing the map. I've started a playbook for Haven based off of everything I've learned, with standard executes and post plants to master. To go with that, coaches advised me to spend 15 minutes practicing executes before my comp games for the day. The goal is to get these down to muscle memory, so I don't need to think about them in-game at all. I've also started a Valorant data tracking document. I'm tracking everything from KDA to hours slept and stress levels that day. I also started learning Waylay, as Charlatan thought she could be good to pick up as another agent to learn. And let's just say it was pretty difficult.
I'm going in. Reloading. Gonna fall back here.
Playing her when it works is pretty fun though. Yeeting myself out after getting a cheeky pick is very satisfying.
Back in a flash. Bye. Spike down A.
Probably the hardest part about trying to make changes to my game sense is that my mechanics fall off pretty hard. I've talked in previous videos about how I shoot best when I get myself into a flow state and stop thinking, but I'm trying to correct all my autopiloting mistakes. I have to accept this as a temporary setback, and that eventually these new ways of playing will become more natural to me. Still, my impatience gets the best of me, and it's hard not to get frustrated. I ended up finishing the week with some pretty negative stats. I guess this is part of the process. There's like a million things I need to learn and integrate that I've already been taught, that I'm trying to integrate everything, and I feel like so far it's kind of making me a worse player because it's counter to a lot of the normal things I do. Though I don't even know how to play in this way yet, and maybe that's normal. I got coaching session number 2 tomorrow. Hopefully I can talk about some of that. It's a little disheartening. I was hoping this week would go better, especially after the coaching, but you gotta remember we're building a city and not just a little hut in the woods. It's gonna take a long time to become a better player, and it's probably gonna be slow. But yeah, right now my stats, man, I mean, if you look at this shit, we have the bottom 2% damage per round, the bottom 5% KD, and I mean, with that win rate, you know, it could be worse, but fuck. And I guess a lot of this is because of the Waylay practice, but this is my first time really trying to learn another agent aside from Neon, so it's gonna be its own grind, man. It's whatever. Keep on keeping on, keep on training. A long, hard road ahead still.